Have you ever met someone who felt magnetic? Someone whose words seemed to pull you in like gravity itself, only to realize later that they were slowly draining the life out of you? They made you laugh, they made you feel seen, maybe even special. But behind that warmth was something darker. A quiet hunger. At first, you couldn't name it. You told yourself, maybe I'm overreacting. But somewhere deep inside, your instincts whispered, something isn't right. And you were right. Because some personalities are not chaotic by accident. They are designed, crafted to control. These are not the loud manipulators we see in movies or the obvious villains that history warns us about. No, the most dangerous personalities are calm, charming. They hide behind smiles, small favors, and 5 simple words that can enslave even the strongest mind. The ancient Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they all warned us. A man is enslaved by whatever he cannot control, and sometimes what we can't control is our addiction to people who make us feel alive, even as they quietly destroy our peace. This is what makes toxic personalities so dangerous. They don't just manipulate your mind, they addict your emotions. You begin to crave their approval, their attention, their validation. They become the emotional drug you never knew you were taking. And like any addiction, the high always fades, leaving you emptier, weaker, and wondering where your power went. But what if you could see it before it starts? What if you could recognize the words, the exact 5 words, that these personalities use to disarm you, to draw you in, to make you question your own perception of truth? In this video, we'll uncover the 5 words that expose a dangerous personality, the subtle traps that keep you addicted to their validation and blind to their manipulation. More importantly, you'll learn how the ancient Stoics broke these psychological chains long before modern psychology had a name for them. Because this isn't just about spotting liars or manipulators. It's about understanding how your mind, your Stoic mind, can rise above emotional addiction, above guilt, above illusion. So stay with me until the end, because each of these 5 words could save you years of repeating the same toxic patterns. And if this resonates, if you've ever felt drawn to someone who secretly made you smaller, consider subscribing. Not for me, but for yourself. Subscribe because your peace is worth protecting. Because every week we explore the ancient Stoic philosophy that helps you build emotional freedom, spot toxic manipulation, and walk through life calm, clear, and unshakable. Now, let's begin. Let's expose the first word, the one that hides behind guilt, the one that keeps you chained to people who feed on your empathy. Word 1, you owe me. It begins with a favor, something small, something that seems harmless. They lend you a hand when you're struggling. They comfort you when you're low. They make you believe they care. But soon, their kindness turns into currency, and that's when you hear it. You owe me. Those 3 words might sound innocent, but they carry the weight of chains. They are the first sign of emotional manipulation, the weapon of those who feed not on your love, but on your guilt. Dangerous personalities understand something most people don't. Guilt is one of the most powerful tools of control. They don't need to shout, threaten, or force you. All they need is to make you feel indebted, like you owe them your loyalty, your silence, or your time, and slowly you start to comply. Not because you want to, but because you don't want to disappoint them. You become addicted to their approval, chasing the illusion that you can repay what they've given, but you never can. Because to them, your debt is not meant to end. It's meant to keep you hooked. The ancient Stoics understood this long before psychology had the words for it. Epictetus warned, "No man is free who is not master of himself." If someone can make you act through guilt or fear of losing them, they own a part of you. And the Stoic path, the path of inner peace and emotional freedom, demands that you take that part back. Seneca once said, "He who gives only to bind has not given but sold." That's what manipulative people do. Their kindness is never free. It's bait, so how do you break free? Through Stoic detachment, not coldness but clarity. When you act, do it from virtue, not obligation. When you give, do it from love, not fear. And when someone tells you, "You owe me," remember, you owe no one your peace. In the philosophy of Stoicism, your duty is to reason, not to the approval of others. You can be grateful for what's done for you without surrendering your soul to guilt. Because gratitude uplifts, but guilt enslaves. So the next time someone reminds you of what they've done for you, pause. Ask yourself, is this gratitude or is this control? The moment you see it clearly, their power fades because truth is light, and manipulation only survives in the dark. Word 2, only I understand you. It sounds comforting, doesn't it? Only I understand you. Those words fall like warm rain on lonely hearts. They promise safety, understanding, connection, everything we crave as humans. But beneath their softness, there's often a silent hook. This phrase is one of the most powerful tools of emotional manipulation because it isolates you from everyone else. It's the language of control disguised as care. At first, it feels flattering. Someone finally gets you. They listen to your pain, your secrets, your doubts. They make you believe that no one else ever could. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to depend on them for validation. You start sharing less with others. You start to withdraw. That's how toxic people work. They don't isolate you physically at first. They isolate you emotionally. This is not new. Even the ancient philosophers understood this pattern. In Plato's allegory of the cave, the prisoners mistake shadows for truth. They live in illusion, chained by what they believe to be real. That's what happens when you believe someone who says, "Only I understand you." You start to see the world through their shadow, not through your own light. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest voices of Stoic philosophy, warned against this when he said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you let someone else define those thoughts, you surrender your peace. This is how emotional addiction begins. You start to crave that person's reassurance the way an addict craves their next fix. You tell yourself you can't function without their approval. And the more you depend on them, the less you trust yourself. But Stoicism teaches us the opposite. True peace comes from within. A Stoic doesn't reject love or connection. They simply refuse to let either become a prison. To see clearly, you must return to your own reason, your own judgment. Ask yourself, do they truly understand me, or do they simply say what keeps me close? Epictetus taught, if you wish to be free, let go of the things beyond your control. And one of the hardest things to let go of is the need to be understood by someone who uses that understanding to keep you weak. If someone truly understands you, they won't cage you. They'll challenge you to grow, to stand on your own, to become independent of their validation. So when you hear, "Only I understand you," listen carefully, because genuine understanding empowers, manipulation isolates. And when you start to recognize the difference, you reclaim your self-awareness, your inner peace, and your emotional freedom. Word 3, trust me. 2 words that can sound like comfort or a command. We want to believe them. We want to trust because trust feels safe. It gives us a sense of belonging, of stability in a chaotic world. But that's exactly why toxic people use it, because trust, when unearned, becomes the perfect weapon for psychological control. The most dangerous personalities don't demand obedience with threats. They win it through charm. They plant the illusion of safety. They smile, they reassure. They repeat those two words, trust me, until you stop questioning, stop thinking, and start depending. And that's when the erosion begins, not of love, but of perception. You begin to doubt your own instincts. You ignore the small warnings in your gut. Because after all, they told you to trust them, and you did. In Stoic philosophy, blind trust is seen as a kind of slavery, not physical but mental. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." When someone demands your trust instead of earning it, they're asking you to react emotionally instead of rationally. That's not trust, that's submission. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, warned, "If someone can show me I'm mistaken, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth." A Stoic doesn't cling to people. They cling to truth, and truth, unlike manipulation, doesn't fear being questioned. Real trust invites clarity. False trust silences it. Ancient philosophers saw trust as sacred, something that must be aligned with reason, logos. When a person says, "Trust me," but their actions contradict their words, the Stoic within you must awaken. Ask, what do they gain from my trust? And what do I lose by giving it too quickly? Toxic people rely on your emotional impulse to believe. They rush the bond. They want you to trust before you've seen their true nature. Because once trust is given blindly, it becomes the perfect shield for manipulation. But here's the Stoic truth. You are not cold for being cautious. You are wise for testing before believing. In the language of ancient philosophy, wisdom is the art of patience. The ability to wait, observe, and discern truth without being blinded by emotion. That's emotional freedom, the strength to see clearly, even when your heart wants to believe. So the next time someone looks you in the eye and says, "Trust me," pause. Let their actions speak first. Because the Stoic doesn't trust charm, they trust consistency. And in that patience lies your inner peace, your self-awareness, your emotional detachment from manipulation. Stay with me. The fourth word will expose the moment when charm turns into control, and when clarity becomes your shield. Word 4. You're too sensitive. You're too sensitive. How often have you heard those words and felt a pang of doubt deep inside? At first they sound harmless, almost caring, a gentle dismissal of your feelings. But that's exactly the trap. Toxic people use this phrase like a scalpel. It's designed to twist your perception of reality, to make you question your instincts, and to convince you that your emotions are a weakness. Dangerous personalities don't attack openly. They don't need to. They know that the mind itself can be their battlefield. By labeling your awareness as sensitivity, they undermine your self-trust, turning your natural perception of danger into self-doubt. The ancient Stoics were keenly aware of this human vulnerability. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Manipulators exploit this very truth. They plant seeds of doubt, waiting for your imagination to grow restless until you blame yourself for noticing their deception. Being sensitive is not weakness. It is awareness. It is the radar that detects subtle cracks in the world around you. The inconsistencies, the lies, the hidden agendas. Think of it in real terms. A partner who hides messages or subtly changes behavior. The sensitive partner notices first. A colleague whose ethics are questionable. The sensitive observer spots small anomalies before disaster strikes. Without sensitivity, many disasters go unseen. With sensitivity, action can be taken before harm becomes irreversible. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, teaches us, "If someone can show me I am mistaken, I will gladly change. For it is truth that I seek, not victory." A Stoic uses sensitivity not to argue, not to react emotionally, but to observe and discern. Sensitivity becomes the tool of self-mastery, not the weapon of guilt the manipulator wants it to be. Psychological control relies on reversing power. The moment someone tells you you're too sensitive, they are asking you to abandon your self-awareness and give them emotional dominance. They want you to apologize for noticing, to question your own perception, to doubt yourself. The Stoic response is simple, calm, and unshakable. Acknowledge your awareness. Refuse the bait of guilt. Speak the truth without apology. For instance, when faced with the manipulative line, "You're too sensitive," a Stoic might reply, "I am aware, and that awareness is my strength." Those 4 words reclaim your power. They shift the frame. They expose the manipulator because true observation cannot be shamed or silenced. In the philosophy of Stoicism, your mind is your fortress. No one can breach it unless you open the gates. Emotional detachment, self-awareness, and reason form the walls. Sensitivity, your awareness, is the lookout tower. So remember, when someone tries to shame you for feeling, for noticing, for understanding, you are not weak. You are awake. You are observing. You are free. Stay tuned. The 5th word, the final one, will reveal how manipulators try to rush your peace and silence your search for truth. Word 5, can't we just move on? Can't we just move on? At first, it sounds reasonable. It sounds peaceful, like someone finally wants to let go of conflict and tension. But with toxic people, these words are rarely about resolution. They are about escape. Escape from accountability, from truth, from the consequences of their actions. Dangerous personalities understand a simple human weakness. We get tired. Emotions, confrontation, and the effort to seek clarity all demand energy. Manipulators exploit this exhaustion. They know that if they can wear you down, if they can rush you into letting go, they can bury the truth forever. This tactic is a form of emotional manipulation, an attempt to hijack your sense of urgency and guilt. The more desperate they sound, the more they try to frame you as unreasonable for continuing to ask questions. They want you to surrender your self-awareness, your pursuit of clarity, your Stoic mind. The Stoics, however, had no illusions about such strategies. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Notice he never added, "unless it's inconvenient." Truth in Stoic philosophy is timeless. It does not fade simply because someone wishes to silence it. Seneca, too, emphasized the discipline of patience. Time discovers truth. Manipulators may demand haste, but the Stoic remains anchored. Inner peace is not built on fatigue or acquiescence. It is built on observation, reason, and emotional detachment. Real-world examples are everywhere. A business partner caught in a financial discrepancy begs, "Can't we just move on?" A lover exposed in betrayal pleads, "Let's not dwell on the past." On the surface, it seems like compromise. But in reality, it's a strategy to control your perception, to prevent questions, to end your pursuit of truth. The Stoic response is simple and powerful. Pause, breathe, and set boundaries. I will move on when I understand what happened, not before. 14 words: calm, clear, unshakable, no anger, no panic. Just the subtle assertion that your peace is not negotiable, that your clarity is not for sale. When you resist the pressure to give in, the manipulator's power crumbles. Their desperation cannot function against reason. Their emotional games are meaningless against self-awareness. Psychological control only works if you react. The Stoic does not react to emotion. They respond with virtue. They observe the game without being drawn in, keeping their inner fortress intact. Remember, emotional freedom comes from refusing to surrender to manipulation. You are not cruel for demanding truth. You are not harsh for valuing your peace. You are not weak for standing your ground. The 5 words, "You owe me," "Only I understand you," "Trust me," "You're too sensitive," "Can't we just move on?" are traps, subtle and insidious. But a Stoic mind, armed with reason, clarity and patience, turns every trap into insight. In the world of dangerous personalities, awareness is your greatest weapon. And by observing without reaction, by choosing your responses carefully, you reclaim your inner peace, your self-awareness, and your emotional freedom.